Hi, I'm Dakota.
I'm 32 years old. I should have figured this out by now.
From Rockstar fiancé to Hollywood's biggest names, Dakota Johnson's love life has been a real roller coaster. She's Hollywood royalty, a serious actress, and a woman who millions have fallen in love with on screen. But behind that quiet, fiercely private life she tries to lead, there's a history of heartbreak. These aren't just little flings. They were deep, intense connections that have shaped who she is.
There are infinite possibilities for how relationships and family dynamics play out when...
Today, we're looking at 5 men who captured her heart, only for things to fall apart. We'll get into the whispered rumors about A-list actors, an on-again, off-again romance with a rock star model, and even a long-term love tangled up with one of Hollywood's most talked-about religions.
Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Union Stories
so you don't miss any Hollywood update.
Coming in at number 5 is the brilliant British actor Benedict Cumberbatch. Back in late 2013, the whispers started. Dakota, who was right on the edge of becoming a household name from 50 Shades of Grey, was seen around New York City with Cumberbatch. He was already a massive star, famous for Sherlock, and one of the most in-demand actors in the world. They were spotted a few times, including at what some people described as a cozy dinner. The idea of them as a couple was enough to get people talking. You had Cumberbatch, who was this very proper, classically trained English actor. And then you had Dakota, the free-spirited Hollywood kid with a cool indie vibe. They seemed like a total mismatch, which of course just makes the story better. At the time, nobody had any real details. Were they just friends, a business meeting, or something more? Some reports claimed their busy schedules were just too much to let a real relationship happen. It seemed like a classic case of 2 rising stars whose paths briefly crossed. Paparazzi caught them together, but often in bigger groups, so it was easy to brush it off as nothing. Still, the rumors didn't die. The media was fascinated by what could have been. Even if it was just a quick dalliance, it's a certain kind of Hollywood heartbreak, the kind that ends before it really even starts. It's a story of what-ifs and bad timing. Neither of them ever confirmed anything, so it's just a little footnote in their dating histories, leaving everyone to wonder what was real and what was just talk. Next up, at number 4, is another one of those juicy rumors that connected Dakota with one of TV's most iconic actors, Jon Hamm. This was in 2017. Hamm was recently single after a very long-term relationship, and Dakota was between her own serious relationships. The whole thing kicked off with one key sighting. The two were seen at a restaurant in New York, sharing wine and deep in conversation. An eyewitness told Page 6 the vibe was low-key, and that they seemed to really be enjoying each other's company. They had also been seen at Elton John's 70th birthday party earlier that year, which just added to the speculation. Of course, the tabloids went wild. I mean, Don Draper and Anastasia Steele. The story wrote itself. On paper, it made a certain kind of sense. 2 super attractive, talented actors who both understood the pressures of Hollywood. Hamm was 46 and Dakota was 28, an age gap that just made the whole idea more intriguing to people. But just like with Benedict Cumberbatch, the story never turned into a confirmed relationship. Was it a date or just 2 friends catching up? In Hollywood, that line is always blurry. Hamm had talked about how hard being single was after his 18-year relationship ended, admitting it sucks. Dakota has also talked about her own feelings on love, once telling Vogue, "I think I'm a little bit heartbroken all the time, even when I'm in a happy relationship." At number 3, we're moving out of rumors and into a confirmed long-term relationship. But this one came with a side of controversy. We're talking about the actor Jordan Masterson. Dakota and Jordan were an item for about 2 years, from 2011 to early 2014. This was right before she became a massive star. Their relationship was pretty low-key at first, just 2 young actors making their way in the business. Jordan comes from an acting family. His brothers are Danny and Christopher Masterson from That 70s Show and Malcolm in the Middle. But the Masterson family is also famous for something else: their deep roots in the Church of Scientology. Jordan was raised in the religion, and as his relationship with Dakota got more serious, speculation started about its influence on her. According to tabloid reports at the time, the real pressure started when Dakota landed the role of Anastasia Steele. Suddenly, she was about to be one of the most famous women in the world. These reports claimed this huge career move put a major strain on their relationship, with some sources saying Jordan was uncomfortable with how explicit the role was. This is where the Scientology angle got amplified by the press. Insiders started whispering to magazines that Jordan was pushing Dakota to look into Scientology to handle the stress of her new fame. One source even told Grazia magazine, Jordan feels taking on such a huge role, and the fame that goes with it will mean she needs some help. And that's where Scientology could step in. For Dakota, who has always been fiercely private and independent, this was a tough spot to be in. The idea of joining such a controversial organization right as her own career was taking off on her own terms would have been a huge conflict. In the end, their relationship didn't survive. They split in 2014, right as the 50 Shades madness was kicking off. This breakup seemed to be about more than just bad timing. It was a clash of worlds. Dakota was stepping into the spotlight, and that meant leaving behind a relationship that, according to the tabloids, might have asked her to become someone she wasn't. It's clear Dakota's journey with love has been complicated. Before we get to the last two guys on our list, let us know what you think in the comments. Does fame and outside pressure doom a relationship? And if you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. Coming in at number 2 is the man who was by Dakota's side as her life changed forever. Welsh model and musician Matthew Hitt. Their on and off romance lasted from 2014 to 2016 and was pretty much defined by one huge event, the release of 50 Shades of Grey. Matthew Hitt, the lead singer of the indie band Drowners, seemed like a perfect fit for Dakota's cool, artsy style. They started dating right when the 50 Shades hype was starting to explode. For a while, they were that edgy, cool couple, often photographed walking around New York City. But under the surface, things were getting rocky. The story that emerged in the media was that the core issue was Dakota's sudden, massive fame. It was a level of celebrity few people ever see, and reports suggested that Hitt, who liked a more low-key life, struggled to deal with it. An insider told Us Weekly that her life was getting too crazy, and it wasn't something that he wanted to be a part of. Imagine dating an up-and-coming actress one minute, and the next, she's the most talked about woman on earth for a role built around intense, intimate scenes. That's a lot for any relationship to handle. Their romance turned into a classic on-again, off-again story. They reportedly first split in early 2015, right when the movie came out, with sources blaming the pressure of the franchise. But they found their way back to each other a few months later. The problem was, the fundamental issues didn't go away. Dakota was now a global star committed to filming a whole trilogy. Her schedule was insane, putting her in Vancouver for long shoots, while Hitt was focused on his music. A source explained that they didn't get a chance to see much of each other. It's a classic Hollywood story of careers pulling two people in different directions. But with them, there were always whispers that it was more than just schedules, that the strain of her fame, built on such a charged movie, was just too much. Their final breakup in 2016 was pretty quiet. Matthew was there for the before and during her rise to superstardom, but he couldn't be the after. The very thing that made her a household name, her career, was what seemed to tear them apart. It was a hard lesson on the price of fame. And now, for the number 1 spot, the longest, most significant, and maybe the most heartbreaking relationship of Dakota Johnson's life. Her 8-year romance with Coldplay frontman, Chris Martin. This wasn't a rumor. This was a deep, real partnership where they built a life together, mostly away from the public eye. They started dating in October 2017 and were fiercely private from the start. They rarely walked red carpets, preferring quiet nights at their Malibu home. Dakota once said, "We've been together for quite a while, and we go out sometimes, but we both work so much that it's nice to be at home and be cozy and private." For years, it seemed perfect. They even got secretly engaged. Dakota was first seen wearing a huge emerald ring back in December 2020. But it wasn't until March 2024 that sources confirmed they had been engaged for years and were in no rush to get married. A huge part of their life together was Dakota's relationship with Chris's 2 kids from his marriage to Gwyneth Paltrow, Apple and Moses. Dakota didn't just play the role of stepmom, she loved them. In a rare, touching interview with Bustle, she said, "I love those kids like my life depends on it, with all my heart." Coming from a big blended family herself, she cherished those chosen family bonds. This made her connection with Chris even deeper, and their breakup even more painful. But there were cracks. Their relationship was often described as on-off. They reportedly split briefly in 2019 and again in 2024, but always found their way back. Then in June 2025, the news came that it was over for good, with a source telling People magazine, "It feels final this time." So what happened? It wasn't one thing but a pileup of unresolved issues. A major point of conflict, according to multiple reports, was about the future. At 35, Dakota was reportedly open to having children of her own. But Chris, at 48 and already a father of 2, was reportedly done with that part of his life. This kind of fundamental disagreement is incredibly difficult to overcome. Another source claimed Dakota got tired of waiting for a wedding date, saying she was sick of him dragging his feet. But maybe the most shocking story came from a Radar Online report, which painted a much darker picture. A source for the tabloid claimed Chris had become way too controlling and dependent on her, and that it felt suffocating. The report alleged he would get angry if she didn't answer his calls and didn't like her going out with friends. According to insiders, the split was a long time coming. One source revealed their relationship has been over for a long time. They just haven't been able to figure out to make it official. For Dakota, the most painful part was likely losing the family unit she had come to love. This wasn't just a breakup, it was the slow end of a family she had poured her heart into for nearly a decade, only to realize that love wasn't enough to fix the fundamental issues. From whispered rumors with Hollywood's biggest stars to the gut-wrenching end of an 8-year love story, Dakota Johnson's romantic life has been a journey of intense passion and serious heartbreak. She's dealt with the pressures of fame, the challenge of wanting different things in life, and the pain of letting go of a future she truly wanted. Each relationship tells a story about a woman who loves deeply, even if it ends in pain. The end of her time with Chris Martin, especially, shows a tough kind of maturity, the strength to walk away from a love that, no matter how beautiful it was, just isn't right anymore. Who do you think was Dakota's best match? And who would you like to see her with next? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories on your favorite stars. Thanks for watching.